Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here, and this is my review of The Walking Dead issue 181. So there were quite a few things that happened in this issue. Mercer and Princess nearly die, and they get saved at the last second by Dwight and his militia, and we get a little bit of character development. Pamela learns more about Rick and everyone else, and Rick takes her to Oceanside for the view, and she's just hanging out and learning about everything. And Rick, Dwight, Heath, Mercer, and Princess are all riding on horses, and they encounter a herd. And this is something that Rick and Dwight and everyone else that is part of the Alexandria Safe Zone, this is something that they are very familiar with, and they know how to manage. And Rick was telling Dwight to divert the herd and get it to where everyone, including Pamela, was safe. And Dwight explains to Princess and Mercer what they do and how they do it, but Princess almost gets killed anyway, and then Mercer saves her, and then they both get surrounded by walkers, and it looks like they're about to die, but Dwight has his militia come out of nowhere and shoots all the zombies, and they all get shot in the head. Dwight tells them to be careful and not to shoot Mercer and Princess, and Pamela actually watches this happen, so she's impressed. And the Princess and Mercer are safe, and I don't think either of them got bitten. And Princess kisses Mercer, and Dwight is finally over his shit. Dwight is finally okay, but Rick gets mad at Dwight because Dwight had pulled two people out from their posts, so they didn't see the herd coming, and they weren't able to warn them in the first place, and Rick blames Dwight for that. Although Dwight had good intentions, because he got his army ready just in case Pamela's people were going to be a problem. So I was hoping that Dwight and Rick would mend fences and they would be cool again, but it seems like Dwight is over his shit, but Rick is still mad at him. So I guess there's still some unfinished story left between those two. I feel like something bad is going to happen. I hope Dwight doesn't get killed, because he's my favorite character. If you've seen my other reviews, you know that Dwight is my favorite character in the comics. And I waited over a year to see him get over his shit and get over blaming Rick for Sherry's death. And he finally did it. And now Rick is being kind of an asshole to him. So I don't know where it's going to go, but now I'm hoping that Rick gets over his shit. And I know that a lot of people... It seems like a lot of people don't like Princess, and I understand where they're coming from. Now, me personally, I don't really care one way or the other. She's sort of take it or leave it for me. I don't think she makes the comics worse. I think she's fairly interesting, and I look forward to seeing what she has to offer to the story. I know that some people are complaining that she gets too much... I don't know what you would call it in the comics, but too much screen time. She gets too much importance and too much dialogue, and there's just a lot of panels in each issue about her talking about nothing and being crazy, but she's just kind of a loudmouth. That's her character. She's a blabbermouth, she's crazy, she's sort of a silly character, kind of like Negan, but with Negan it was okay for the audience because Negan was so funny and actually had a lot of depth, and he started off as a villain, so he definitely had depth. He definitely wasn't there for comic relief. I mean, maybe he was, but he had a real story. He was a real character and served a real purpose. And I guess Princess really hasn't so far. She's still a relatively new character, but yeah, I mean, so far she's mostly served comic relief. So I don't love her. I don't hate her. I'm sort of take it or leave it. She's not ruining the comics. I still think that ever since A New Beginning started, the comics have been at their prime, and they're still at their prime. I mean, they did something like kill off Andrea, and they made it work. They actually made it work, which was something I was not expecting. And yeah, I kind of have faith in the comics. I think that there's a lot of interesting character development going on with Rick, with Dwight, with Carl, with Maggie, Negan, Pamela, Mercer. We know that Mercer has some problems with Pamela and her son, and that is going to be building up into something interesting soon. So there's a lot of interesting things going on. So with Princess not being this super relevant character that has this really important story, it doesn't bother me too much. Again, I understand why people don't like her. For me, she doesn't really bother me. She's just kind of take it or leave it. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed this issue. Like I said, I'm worried about Dwight at this point. You know, Rick is still mad at him, even though Dwight got over being angry and blaming Rick for Sherry's death, and Dwight wanted to take control as a leader. But Dwight's over that shit, so Rick just needs to give him another chance, and I was hoping that would happen, and it didn't happen. Rick is still mad at him, so I don't know where that is going to go. But we keep seeing moments where Mercer is mad at Pamela. Mercer is still planning something. I don't know if he's going to become a good guy or a bad guy, if he is going to become, the villain, or if someone tries to stop him, or if maybe Pamela becomes the villain. Someone is going to be the villain sooner or later. And I think the comics are building up to this big bad thing happening, and I just can't quite pinpoint what it is. There are hints, and those hints are Mercer has problems with Pamela and how she's running things, and Rick is still mad at Dwight. There's also the kid in the glasses, I think, what was his name, Joshua, that Carl's starting to get to know, and apparently he was one of the Whisperers, but he and his family were just pretending to be Whisperers because they were scared and didn't know what else to do. So I'm wondering where that is going to go. But yeah, something big and bad is about to happen. Oh, one more thing. Jesus and Aaron were talking to Maggie, and they were talking about the Whisperers and how all the Whisperers were gone. And Jesus said, yes, all the Whisperers are gone for sure, and they kind of went out with a whimper. And Maggie was like, yeah, well, good riddance to them. I did not like that. I have a bad feeling about that. I really did think that the Whisperer threat was over and that the story has moved on, but with Jesus actually saying they went out with a whimper, that means that maybe there's still something left. Maybe it is the family that Jesus and Aaron found. I don't know. Or maybe that's what Robert Kirkman wants us to think. He wants us to be thinking about, oh, is the Whisper threat still over? Are there going to be more Whisperers? Is there still some consequences? Is something bad going to happen with the Whisperers, even though Beta's dead? Maybe he wants us to think about that. Maybe he gave Jesus that line of, they went out with a whimper, to have us looking in the wrong direction when the real problem is actually right in front of us, like Pamela or Mercer or Dwight or something like that. But yeah, I mean, this has been a pretty interesting issue, and I enjoyed it, and I am excited to know where it goes from here. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the issue. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't be shy. Hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere, and I know that this channel has not been very active in the past month. I have just been kind of busy, just doing a lot of things lately, and all I can say is that things are going to change very soon. I am going to go back to making not only 1 to 2 videos per day, but I intend to make 3, 4, or 5 videos per day. And we are going to have a lot of content, a lot of exciting things coming up. I'm actually about to start working on my first feature film, my first actual independent film with actual people in it. I'm getting a bunch of people together for that. Some of you may know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to make a couple of videos about that sooner or later. But yeah, we have a lot of exciting things coming up for this channel, a lot more Walking Dead content. So, like I said, if you have not already subscribed, now would be a great time to do so, because there are a lot of exciting videos that will be coming up. Anyway, I'm Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye!